Beat Lead seemed tranquil and peaceful. No noise or air pollution. Time seemed to have stood still here. There were images which take you back to biblical times. A couple of women in traditional dresses, an old man with a keffiyeh sitting in the shade outside the house, a man on a donkey driving a herd of sheep down the road. For a moment it felt like a real holiday. We were welcomed by the mayor and a few other men in suits who gave us a talk and slideshow about their history and lots of statistical facts about Beit Lead. While we were sipping coffee, we learned that there used to be another village with the same name, Kirbat Beit Lead, by the sea, founded by people from this Beit Lead and destroyed during the Nakba, May 1948. We were in Palestine after all, and we heard more stories of loss of land and property and refugees. After this talk, we walked down the road to the house where we were expected for lunch. Again, this temporary feeling of holiday. The clean air, the beauty of the landscape. We passed a house where we heard the voices of the family out in their garden, but almost idyllic. Wasfia Othman had prepared a most amazing culinary treat for us. Musakan, a large pizza-like dish with pine kernels and the spice sumac, which is a speciality of the Tulkarm area. Wasfia and the women of the village are very active in keeping traditional crafts alive. And cookery is part of this. In the afternoon, we took part in a workshop at the local women's centre where Rima taught us to make flowers out of wire and beads. Here also we had the opportunity to buy handmade olive oil soap, beautifully presented in pink ribbon. How beautiful this country and the people are, and how peaceful it would be. But soon enough we were reminded that even here, heaven and hell are never far apart. We were told that earlier that day an Israeli army vehicle had been patrolling the hill opposite. Later we learned that one of the children, a niece of our host, had been born at a checkpoint when the soldiers refused the parents passage to the clinic in Tulkarm. Fortunately, mother and child survived this trauma, but there are reports of other cases which resulted in fatalities. In the evening, our hosts explained an oblong object which was standing on the floor next to a tall vase in the beautiful living room. This ornament was a rocket which was fired by the Israeli army a few years ago and had smashed through the wall, leaving a gaping hole in the corner of the house. It had exploded, causing much fear and distress to the family, who later had reassembled it and glued it together as a reminder of this terrible incident. The next day we visited Asawiya. The reception we received in the village was overwhelming. Villagers had assembled in the municipal building where the mayor gave a welcome speech, and we were presented with embroidery from the local Women's Association. After a wonderful feast of a meal, we were treated to a display of Dapke dance before we were taken to our host's home. It was lovely to retire here and talk over refreshing sage tea and coffee. Our friend's father told us that the family used to own the land they can now only view from a distance, but not enter because of the illegal settlements. We were told that Asawiya has lost 75% of its land to the settlements, which occupy the hills around. Our friend's mother then told us what happened to her a few years ago when she was in her olive grove. Settlers came, demanding that she gave them her donkey and told her to leave. Strong as she is, and in the knowledge that she was on her ground, her land, attending to her tree, she stood her ground and defended her land and her donkey. The settlers then used violence, knocked her down, beat her up, and went off with the donkey. Violent attacks like this are not unique to Palestine and can happen everywhere. What is different here is that this is state-endorsed violence. There is no police which Palestinians can expect help from. There is no justice. We also visited the house of a woman in the same village who has 10 children. Her husband is a carpenter. The Israelis regard one half of this house as illegal, and the army has turned up on several occasions, destroying all his work. Last year, 47 households in the village were issued with illegal notices, meaning that the inhabitants can be evicted and the houses demolished at any time. It is amazing how people can maintain so much dignity and beauty and so much faith in our common humanity under these terrible conditions. Every day we are amazed at the strength and the dignity Palestinians maintain in the face of the constant threats to their lives. Every day Palestinians have taught us what humanity needs. Now, very short